Hey folks, I hope that you guys are doing pretty well. So today is Saturday, the 7th of December 2024, and in today's video, I'm going to decipher Psalm 82. First up, I want to apologize for Psalm 81. I had to replace a cable that was worn out, and I did that, and now everything seems to be fine right now. So, okay, Psalm 82 now. Psalm 82 is actually it's a psalm when Jesus comes back for the millennial kingdom because God wants to judge, the gods, if you like, the demons. He also wants to judge the Antichrist and the false prophet and Satan, and also all the rulers of the earth, the kings, the captains, and mighty men, for what they have done to the whole world really during the tribulation period, And so God is coming back to judge them for the millennial kingdom, okay? And, the whole world is actually living in darkness, according to verse 5 here, all the foundations of the earth are out of course. If you ask yourself, where can this happen? Of course, during the tribulation period, but more so during the second half of the tribulation period, when the mark of the beast is introduced, and that's really when all the foundations of the earth will be out of course, So Psalm 82, folks, is really all about judgment. Now, as per usual, then, do have a program, okay? Got 3 pages. I'll give you a little bit of a scan, okay, in case you wanna pause and rewind and look at all these later. This is actually quite an interesting psalm, and it actually links to some of the verses on Psalm 81, which I will show you in a moment. So I just deciphered, of course, Psalm 81, which is actually a very important psalm. So yeah, some of these psalms, I encourage people to have a good look into them because there is actually a lot of scary prophecies here, folks. You need to get saved and go out at the rapture of the church because having myself decipher having done many biblical decipherings, in the book of the prophets, if you like, and also in the Psalms, with everything that I have deciphered so far, I'm telling you, having studied very closely at the scriptures, the tribulation period is going to be very scary indeed. You really want to believe on Jesus, in the gospel of Jesus found in the book of Corinthians, chapter 15, verses 1 to 4, how Jesus died at the cross and that he was buried and rose again on the third day according to the scriptures. You really want to believe on the gospel and get out of here because the tribulation, is looking really bad, folks, All right, let us start, folks. God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judges among the gods. Okay, now we need to unpack this, okay? So God, when he comes back, Jesus, for the millennial kingdom, he says here that he's going to stand in the congregation of the mighty. Okay, now the mighty here, because it says here, following he judges among the gods. Now the mighty here are, of course, all those people that are going to come, against Jesus and as the saints, a lot of Bible scholars call it for Armageddon, but it's not really Armageddon. It's actually the battle is going to be in Jerusalem, okay? And of course, Jesus is going to press the winepress, okay? And we are going to be seeing coming to pass a lot of scriptures, okay? For example, like Joel chapter 3, verse 2, in the valley of Jehoshaphat. Matthew 25, the judgment of the sheep and the goats, according to Matthew 25, verses 32 and 33. Okay, there's more in Micah as well. And also the book of Revelation is full of them, In fact, there is actually a judgment process, if you like. And these gods are going to be judged secondly. Okay, now if you look at Psalm 81, in which I deciphered, I put down on the commentary box a list as to how all the judgment is going to be done in an orderly fashion. Okay, but we'll go through that in a moment here as well anyway. Okay, so basically Jesus is going to be judging He's gonna be judging the nations first. That's the first judgment. Okay. And so the judgment of the nations. In the valley of Jehoshaphat. Okay. Then he's gonna be judging the gods, and the gods are actually in this congregation of the mighty, because what's happening is that the gods, according to Revelation 16:14, they have embedded themselves in kings and captains and mighty men that are actually ruling the world. Okay, so the gods are going to be judged. Secondly, now let me show you quickly Revelation 16:14, and how these mighty men, if you like, are actually possessed by devils. And so God is going to judge them, like it says there on the first verse of Psalm 82. So if you head over to Revelation 16, okay, and come down to verse 14, okay, look what it says here. For they are the spirits of devils, okay, working miracles, which go forth unto kings of the earth and of the whole world, together then to the battle of the great day of God Almighty. So spirits of devils, in other words, gods, okay, these are working miracles which go forth unto kings. In other words, they are possessing kings, if you like, okay, and captains and leaders of the earth. And then if you read Revelation 19, verse 18, okay, so Revelation 19, okay, verse 18, look what it says here. That you might eat the flesh of kings. This is a judgment of the gods, by the way, okay, that you might eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. So the fact that God is judging first the nations, okay, because look what it says here in Revelation 19:15, and out of his mouth goes a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. Okay, so the nations are gonna be dealt with first, but then after the nations, okay, in Revelation 19, verse 18, then is the turn of the gods. You know why? Because in these kings and captains and mighty men are embedded devils, according to Revelation 16. Let me turn the page here. According to Revelation 16, 14, okay, for they are spirits of devil working miracles, which go forth unto kings of the earth. Okay, so this is why the judgment of the gods here is going to be second. First, you have the nations, then you have the gods. Okay, it's a second judgment. Number three, according to the book of Revelation, will be the Antichrist and the false prophet, plus a remnant that will survive. Okay, and then of course the Antichrist and the false prophet will be thrown alive into the lake of fire and brimstone. That's going to be the third judgment, and the last judgment, according to Revelation 20, verses 1 and 3, is going to be Satan. He's going to be put into the bottomless pit, according to Revelation 20. But don't worry, folks. I will put that in the description box. Okay. So he's going to judge the gods and all those mighty men. Like I said earlier. The Antichrist. The false prophet, kings which have devils and gods inside them, and then Satan at the end. Okay. Now, a question is being asked here. How long will you judge unjustly and accept the presence of the wicked? And then on verse 3, defend the poor and the fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and the needy, deliver the poor and needy, rid them out of the hand of the wicked. So verses 2, 3, and 4, okay, what's happening is that, the tribulation period is so bad, that Isaac here is asking the question, how long, God, are you going to wait until you judge these gods and devils, and the Antichrist is so, defend the poor and the fatherless, do justice, because, and also do justice to the afflicted and the needy, because during the tribulation period, there's going to be a lot of poor people, a lot of fatherless, people, a lot of kids, I guess, that won't have fathers, because don't forget that millions of people will die during the tribulation period, when there's going to be wars, like in Matthew chapter 24, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, is going to be pestilence and so on, so, and also, as we see the four horses of Revelation, with all the different colors, the white, the red, the green, and the black, they're going to be coming out and causing all sorts of problems. Many people will die, out of war, um, out of starvation, because, people have to work very hard and things like that, So yeah, it's going to be very tough, the tribulation period, and then verse 5, they know not, neither would they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. Yeah, of course. Like during the tribulation period, people are going to be walking in darkness. Don't forget that in Revelation 13, at the beginning of the second half of the tribulation period, people are going to be receiving the mark of the beast, and people are going to be walking in darkness, and the devil is going to overcome the saints by then. So pretty much all the people that are left, pretty much during the millennial kingdom, except for the Jewish people that will have to go into hiding, God is going to protect them supernaturally. Then everybody else, many of them will have the mark of the beast. You could probably say that maybe some people that live in very remote places, perhaps in very scattered islands around the world, that might get away without having to get the mark of the beast. It's possible, but nonetheless, the whole world will be pretty much in darkness, and all the foundations of the earth out of course. That's what's going to happen during the tribulation. This is why it's quite scary, folks. You need to get saved. Okay. Verse 6, I have said, you are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. Yeah, of course, because all these gods are fallen angels, right? Then verse 7, but you shall die like men. Exactly, they're going to be judged like men and fall like one of the princes. Exactly, they're going to fall, into hell. Where else can they go? Hell was made for Satan and his fallen angels, right? And then on verse side it says here, arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations. That's right. Jesus is coming for the millennial kingdom. He's gonna judge the earth. Think, of course, of all these prophecies that I just told you in the book of Revelation, especially Revelation 16, 19, and 20. Think of Joel chapter 3, verse 2. Think of the judgment of the sheep and the goats in Matthew chapter 25, verses 32 and 33. Think of Micah and so on. Okay. So yeah, God, of course, is going to judge, and there's a whole cluster of prophecies regarding judgment. Okay. For thou shalt inherit all nations. Now, all nations, this is quite interesting. This actually has to be deciphered now. What's going to happen is that there will be people after the judgment of the sheep and the goats. Okay, there will be sheep nations, and so there will be nations that are gonna go through into the millennial kingdom. Okay, but it's not gonna be all nations. It's gonna be a few nations will go through. There's gonna be sheep nations, good nations, and goat nations, bad nations. Okay, so it's gonna be good and bad, but not all nations. So what does this all nations really mean? It means that Jesus is going to inherit all nations partly because the sheep, in other words, the good nations, they will go through into the millennial kingdom, and the remainder of the other all nations, this will be part of all the signs that are coming down with Jesus from many different nations, and so this is going to make up all the nations, okay, in which Jesus is going to rule all nations by Jerusalem. He's going to be the king of Israel. He's going to be ruling from the third temple. So that's how all these nations is going to happen. It's going to be, just to recap, some nations going through, the sheep nations, and then all those people that got saved prior to the, during the church age, of course, just before the tribulation period, if you like. Then all those signs that represent or make up all nations of the world, if you like, all the signs plus the sheep that might enter into the millennial, this makes up for all nations. Okay, that's why Jesus is going to inherit all nations and shall be king over all nations. Okay, now let me go through the problem here, folks, just to recap all this. Okay, so Psalm 82 is essentially a millennial kingdom psalm. Okay, so verse 1 goes standing in the congregation of the mighty. He judges among the gods. Okay, so the judgment of the gods is actually going to be the second judgment. Like I said earlier in the video, first it's going to be the nations, then the gods, and then it's going to be the Antichrist, the false prophet, and the remnant. Okay, and then finally Satan. Okay, so the gods are going to be second, according to Revelation 19, verse 18. Okay, so of course this first one, this judgment, if you like, this will happen upon the arrival of Jesus for the millennial kingdom. The Antichrist and the false prophet will be put into the lake of fire and brimstone, according to Revelation 19:20. Satan is bound in the bottomless pit for 1,000 years, according to Revelation 20, verses 1 and 3. King and rulers of the earth, possessing gods, if you like. In other words, these kings and rulers, they're actually having gods or devils inside of them. They're going to be judged in the second judgment after the nations, according to Revelation 19, verse 18. But Revelation 16:14, I showed you quite clearly earlier that the spirits of the devils are working on kings of the earth. Okay, and so the reason that the gods, if you like, here on verse 1 are going to be judged secondly, is because these gods are actually possessing kings and rulers of the earth, according to Revelation 16:14. Okay, this is actually kind of like a little secret that you really have to give it a lot of things to decipher. All right. Now, verse 2: How long will you judge unjustly and accept the presence of the wicked? This is a question that Isaac is asking. He's asking for judgment, really. And then you have this cluster of prophecies here. Verse 3: Defend the poor and the fatherless, do justice to the afflicted. Verse 4: Deliver the poor. Just paraphrasing here. So basically, what you have is verses 2, okay, to 4 are about the injustices that are happening during the millennial. During the tribulation period, because I just told you about the four horses of the apocalypse. I just told you, on top of the video, how nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. You all know this. Bible scholars know all this. There's going to be pestilence. Millions of people are going to be wiped out and so on. Okay, famine and so on. So yeah, verses 2 and 4 here, just to recap out about the injustices during the tribulation period, and Jesus must come to judge them. During the millennial kingdom. Okay. Now over the page here, folks. Verse 5: They will walk in darkness. All the foundations of the earth out of course. Yeah, of course. I mean, the tribulation period itself, people are going to be working in darkness. There will be people that are going to get saved. But nonetheless, in the second half of the tribulation period, many will take the mark of the beast, and that's going to make up for a more darker earth. Now, during the tribulation period, I did a bit of a summary here. People will walk in darkness, especially during the second half of the tribulation period, when the mark of the beast is introduced. Okay, exclamation mark, and the whole earth will be in evil and in darkness. Right? Of course, it's very common sense. Now, verse 6: I have said you are gods, and on verse 7: but you shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. Yeah, of course, Jesus is going to be judging them, but verses 1, 6, and 7 also link up to Psalm 81, okay, in verses 8 and 9. Let me just quickly show you, okay. Yeah, I did a video, just watch my Psalm 81, okay. Because in Psalm 81 verses 7 and 9 are actually linking up here with verse 1 in Psalm 82, and also here verse 6 and 7. Okay, it's a judgment of the gods or the devils, if you like, because here it's, "Hear, O my people, and I will testify unto thee, O Israel, if you will hearken unto me." And then it's got the little dot and the comma. So basically, and then it follows through on verse 9. So basically, what he's saying here, Jesus is saying, "Hear, O my people," the Jewish people, "I'm testifying unto thee, O Israel." In other words, just listen to me, hearken unto me, okay? When I come back, Jesus is saying here on verse 9, he's saying, first, hear and listen to me, just to paraphrase on verse 8. But on verse 9, he's saying, "Hey, Israel, when I come back, no longer is going to be any strange God in thee, or gods if you like, neither shall they worship any strange God when I come back." And these two verses, 8 and 9, can only happen during the millennial kingdom, because today there are many principalities all over the world with these little gods. Okay, so these two verses, 8 and 9, in Psalm 81 are actually linking up to Psalm 82 in verses 1, 6, and 7. You know how Jesus is actually going to judge all these gods. These verses in both Psalm 82, 81 and 82. Okay, so getting back to the program. Okay, just to recap. So verse 6, I have said, "You are gods," and on verse 7, "But you shall die like men and fall like one of the princes." Then verses 1, 6, and 7, also of this Psalm 82, okay, also link up, like I just showed you, just to recap and to finalize, with Psalm 81, verses 8 and 9, which I just showed you, with the future judgment of these gods upon Jesus' arrival for the millennial kingdom. See Revelation 19, verse 18, which is the judgment actually of the gods, if you like, the little g, the little gods. Okay. Now, the flesh of kings have evil spirits of gods, or demons, if you like. If you read according to Revelation 16:14, that's why the judgment of the gods is going to be second after the judgment of the nations, like I told you on top of the video. Okay, first are the nations, okay, and then you have the gods, and these gods are actually embedded in kings and captains and men of power, according to Revelation 16:14. Okay, so the gods then, in other words, these gods who are possessing kings are going to be judged according to Revelation 19:18, because they are hiding and possessing kings, captains, and mighty men. Okay, so I told you on top of the video that there is an order of judgment. First are the nations, according to Revelation 19:15. Okay, then the gods, which are possessing kings, captains, and mighty men. Okay, according to Revelation 19:18. Then the third judgment is going to be the Antichrist and the false prophet, according to Revelation 19:20, plus a remnant of people, according to Revelation 19:21. And finally, the last judgment is going to be to Satan in Revelation 20, verses 1 to 3. Okay, and just to finish up then on the last page. So on verse 8, it says here, it actually has two parts. Okay, it says, "Arise, O God, judge the earth, for you shall inherit all nations." Okay, so that's arise, O God, judge the earth. That's Jesus coming for the millennial kingdom to judge the whole earth. Now, I just told you about the four judgments: the nations, the gods embedded in kings and captains and other mighty men. Then the third judgment will be the Antichrist, the false prophet, and a remnant of these people of nations, and then the last judgment will be against Satan. Okay, and I told you earlier that part two, for those shall inherit all nations. That's kind of like relating to what I said earlier, that um, there's going to be a judgment of the sheep and the goats, okay, according to Matthew chapter 25, verses 32 and 33, okay. And so the good nations, the sheep, will make it into the millennium, okay, but it won't be all nations. And the only way that this verse can come to pass then is that it's going to be made up of all those people that go exercise during the church age, if you like, from all nations that are coming with Jesus, as the saints to rule for the millennial kingdom. So you got that remnant or sheep nations plus all the saints that are coming with Jesus. That makes up for all nations, and so Jesus shall inherit all nations. Once he's made the final judgment, and he rules the whole world, uh, as the king of Israel, but he's also going to be, being kind of like the king of the world as well. He's going to be the king over all people. Okay, folks. All right. Thanks for watching. I'm going to be updating the description box, and I'll talk to you all later.